Hellblade 2 is not releasing in 2023. Well, at least that's what I want to argue in this video. Rumors swirling about an apparent late release this year for this game. I want to give you a recap of everything we know about this game up to now, its dev cycle, and how it's incredibly unlikely that this game is coming this year. I am worried, though, that we're already hearing things about Redfall and Starfield that could be having an effect on the timing of Hellblade 2, which I'm a humongous Hellblade fan. I believe it is one of the greatest games ever made. It's one of my all-time favorite games. So if this thing gets mistreated in its sequel, I will be extremely disappointed. If you like this kind of discussion, opinion style content, make sure and subscribe to the channel and check out my live streams. So, why am I making this video? Well, mainly because I'm a huge Hellblade fan and I'm seeing these rumors get traction, and I wanted to give people a recap of what is going on, where is this coming from, and talk about a worrying pattern that we might see in 2023 from Microsoft. So, first and foremost, as a huge Hellblade fan, I've been following the game, waiting for announcements, and when I heard this, I was shocked for a variety of reasons. So, where exactly is this coming from? Well, TwistedVoxel.com said the rumored release date for both Xbox Game Studios' Hellblade 2 and Avowed have been revealed, and based on the latest information, according to Twitter user Snowin, who is known for sharing leaks and rumors in the past, Hellblade 2 has a release date set somewhere around the end of 2023, and Avowed will launch sometime in the year 2024. Now, we know very little about Avowed at this point, so I don't really want to focus on that, but we have a very rough picture of Hellblade's development timing, okay? If you remember, it was announced sometime in 2020 that they would be building their next game in Unreal 5, and then in June of 2021, they finally showed a gameplay trailer, this really insane one that I'm showing right here. It's impressive. It looks nuts. According to one of the audio devs, it is all in-engine and it is all real-time. Now, we don't know exactly what they mean by that phrasing. It still looks fully rendered, not like raw gameplay, somebody controlling on the sticks, but apparently the audio dev said no, this was just somebody playing the game and we recorded it. So obviously it looks bonkers. We know that Unreal 5 has great capabilities. So around the time that this gameplay was debuted, though, they revealed that they had not yet entered full production, which many people were frustrated by. I was sort of irritated. It's like, why are you talking to us if you haven't even entered full production? Even GameRant.com had the following to say. Before the release of the gameplay trailer in June of 2021, the developers revealed that Hellblade 2 had not yet entered full production, much to the befuddlement of franchise fans. Usually, when titles are announced, unless otherwise stated by the developers, gamers are used to getting the release within a relatively short window of time. I don't necessarily think when something is announced you get the release window, but when you show lengthy gameplay, usually means you're pretty close. But apparently, at the time, this is in the middle of 2021, they were only working on a good chunky slice of Hellblade 2 before moving on to full production, which makes sense. You work on a slice, you get a vertical slice, that way you can show off stuff like this and let people know that the game is looking good, let people know what the game is going to look like, okay? Here's the direct quote from the creative director. It says, "I want to give you an update on the work we have so far on Hellblade 2. What we've been doing right now is building a good chunky slice of the game before we move into full production to build out the rest." So at the middle of 2021, they hadn't entered full production, and we don't know at what point in 2021 that they entered full production. It could have been later that year. Who knows? It might not have happened until 2022. We don't know. Now, they admit that this game is very special to them. It's very special to me. They said Hellblade's was very special for us, and we didn't want to do a straight sequel. We wanted to do something extra special, so we're making our lives as difficult as possible in that pursuit. The game is set in 9th century Iceland. So we've been sending our art and audio teams out there doing photography, photogrammetry, and combining it with satellite data to recreate large swaths of the landscape. So that was some of the earliest things we saw from Hellblade 2, is that they were out like capturing pictures and audio. And they want this to be a significant jump from the last game. On the character front, they said we're making real costumes, scanning them in. We're collaborating with Epic Games to bring you next generation digital characters. On the the combat front. We want it to be extra real and brutal. And so Melina, our main actress, has been training for 2 years, and all of our animators have undergone combat training. This is a huge win because many people criticize the simplistic combat of the original game, saying that it wasn't that great. They are apparently taking it so serious. Their main actress, she's been training for 2 years. Now, keep in mind, all of this means that if it launches in 2023, it will have barely been in full production for 2 years. That is such a small window of time. Even if as soon as this trailer hit in the middle of 2021, if as soon as that was over, they entered full production right away, that means you maybe get 2 years of development on it, because usually once you're a couple of months away from the game shipping, the game goes gold. Like 1 or 2 months it goes gold. That means it's ready to ship, it's ready to go. They're ready to put it on to discs, and that would be insane. That would mean, like, if it launches late this year, it barely got 2 years. Okay, this is incredibly unlikely given all that we know about good dev cycles. Good dev cycles last around 5 years. To build a game like this in less than half that time, that just doesn't make any sense to me. And it is worrying, right? They're saying the game's very special to them. They're saying they want the game to be extra awesome, and they're taking all this extra time and work and artistry, but we're seeing something worrying from Microsoft that makes me very much worry about Hellblade 2. We have the leak that we just covered about Starfield and Redfall are in a rough state. They're in rough shape, but Microsoft wants them to come out in the fiscal year. They're pushing product out even though it might not be ready. Now, Phil Spencer said in interviews he wants their teams to own their dates, right? He wants their games to be ready. They have experience, according to Phil Spencer, they have experience launching games before they're ready, okay? If that's the case, then what are you doing with Redfall and Starfield? If those games come out before they're ready, I think it's going to make the platform and their decision-making pretty poor. I think Phil Spencer's words are going to kind of come back to haunt him. And if we're hearing now rumors from reliable leakers that we're also going to get Hellblade 2 in 2023, that sounds like another game that's going to get shoved out before it's ready. We don't know how much Ninja Theory has a say in the matter. Any of these titles being published or owned by Microsoft could likely be dealing with that relationship. Now, Bethesda apparently wants more time for Starfield. They would like it to release in the fall. I hope they get their wish. Apparently, Redfall didn't really get their wish. According to leaks about that game, it got a 5-week internal delay and was landing in May. Well, we got the release date. It's landing in May. It's sounding like a lot of these leaks about Microsoft titles are coming true. If Ninja Theory is being given similar directives, then I will be absolutely furious if that's what happens to this game, okay? If the theme of 2023 from Xbox is we launched games regardless of their state, then many are going to look at Microsoft as the worst platform to not just play games, but the worst platform to own game developers. Activision Blizzard is the huge debate right now. Should this deal go through? And this isn't really a part of the legal argument, but I'm going to make it a part of my argument. I don't want Microsoft to own more studios if they start treating their property this way. I think 2023 is a definitive year for Xbox. If Redfall and Starfield come out purely so they can claim we launched titles on Game Pass, and they come out in a bad state, and we can't look at the leaks and ignore them at that point. Everybody's going to want to look at Bethesda and say, this is on Bethesda, they did this. But what if the same thing happens to Hellblade 2? What if it launches in the fourth quarter of this year and it's just clearly not ready? It was clearly rushed. When you see the level of quality that they were shooting for just in the gameplay trailer that we've seen already, you're not going to be able to say, oh, it's totally on the devs. They're the reason that this happened. If this cadence, if this theme continues, then that will be extremely worrying for any of the developers who are under the ownership of Microsoft. Microsoft has a lot of studios right now that are head down and working on stuff, And if this is what they're going to start doing, then I'd be very worried. So there's no way Hellblade's coming out in 2023. And if it does, I will be very concerned and skeptical from the very, very beginning. From moment one that date gets announced, I'm going to be extremely worried about my girl Senua and about Hellblade, because I absolutely love this franchise. I think it's one of the most special games ever created. I think the story behind it, you should go watch the documentary about how they made the first one, how the main actress wasn't even hired for that job. She was like a video editor. You need to go watch all that. The work that they put in to the sound and the audio design. This is a studio that took great care and went to great pains to make the first Hellblade amazing. And if this thing launches before it's ready, I will be beyond disappointed. I will be absolutely furious that a great piece of property was mistreated. So those of you that are hoping for a 2023 release of Hellblade, I think what you're doing is you're so in a drought. You're coming out of this desert of games. You really want Xbox to have a great year. I don't want Xbox to have a great year. I want them to launch great games. I think there's a humongous difference between just padding Game Pass with games and actually launching top shelf quality content, and that matters more, I think, in the long run. The reason Hi-Fi Rush took the world by storm wasn't just because it was a ghost drop, it's because everybody's saying it's a really great and fun game. That matters more in the long run. The surprise ghost drop wouldn't have mattered if the game was bad. If that game dropped and was poor, badly optimized, doesn't really run well, then everyone would say, who cares that you dropped that game? It runs like trash. Please, I'm begging you, Microsoft, don't do Hellblade. Don't do that franchise wrong. I really am. I'm arguing both from hope and from my own opinion that this game better not come out this year. They've clearly not had enough time to work on it. As always, make sure and leave a comment below. I want to hear what you have to say. A lot of the times when these videos end, I head to a member stream and discuss it with my members. That's a great reason to be a member of the channel. Hit subscribe and the bell button on this video so that I can see you in the next one.